The scrapyard known as Driftspire Station smelled of scorched metal and secrets. Lucas waited beneath a flickering plasma light, boots resting on cracked steel plating, one hand near his sidearm. Midnight had passed, but the clients hadn't arrived. He hated jobs like this. Anonymous messages, shady drop points, no names, just coordinates and vague promises of rare compensation. Usually meant trouble. Footsteps echoed. Two figures emerged from the shadows with a silence that unnerved him. Their movement was too smooth, too fluid, like wind gliding across water. Their presence stopped the noise of the station, as if the air held its breath. The first woman stepped into the light, tall, statuesque, her skin pale gold with a faint, almost luminous sheen. Jet black hair flowed over her shoulders like spilled ink. Her eyes caught the ambient light and shimmered in hues he couldn't name. Behind her came another, slightly shorter but no less striking. Her features mirrored the first's, but her gaze carried a colder edge. "You're Lucas," the taller one said, her voice melodic, as if tuned to resonate with the human ear. "Depends who's asking," he replied, not moving his hand from his holster. "I am Callista. This is Evelyn," she said. "We require transport, immediate. Departure. No questions." Lucas frowned. "That's not how it works. I ask questions. You answer. Then we decide if we're wasting each other's time." Evelyn tilted her head. "What if our answers make the time worthwhile?" He didn't like how they spoke. Too calm, too certain. It reminded him of nobles or con artists. Still, he couldn't ignore the way his instincts tugged at him. These two weren't ordinary passengers. Or maybe they weren't passengers at all. He folded his arms. "Let's start with payment." Callista stepped closer. Her scent hit him, like ozone laced with jasmine. "We don't carry credits. Then you don't get a ride. But we offer something far more valuable," Evelyn said, approaching from the other side. "Access, knowledge, protection." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "Protection from what?" They exchanged a glance. Their eyes pulsed, almost like breathing light. It wasn't fear. It was something else. Something ancient. "We're being hunted," Callista said softly. "But not by any force you've dealt with. Try me." She leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. "Have you ever seen a ship that bled through the stars? A vessel stitched between dimensions?" Lucas blinked. "Can't say I have." "Then you don't want to be here when it arrives." That should have been the moment he told them to walk away. Instead, he found himself nodding toward the far dock. "My ship's in Bay 12. You've got 10 minutes to board. If I see anything that smells like betrayal, I leave you behind." Evelyn smiled faintly. "Understood." They walked beside, him too close for comfort, their footsteps making no sound. As they passed through a back corridor lit only by emergency strips, Lucas glanced at them again. They looked human, but something was off. The way they moved, the faint glow beneath their skin, the way shadows didn't quite stick to them. Inside the Starblade, a beat-up long hauler with stealth mods, Lucas initiated the launch sequence. Engines purred to life. From the cockpit, he noticed Callista standing near the viewport, watching the stars like someone homesick for a different kind of sky. "Destination?" he asked. "Anywhere but here," Evelyn replied. "But if you need coordinates, Zeridian." "Drift." Lucas paused mid-input. "That system's dead. No traffic, no colonies, just wreckage and ghost signals. It's exactly why we chose it." He hesitated. Every instinct screamed this was a mistake, but something deeper, buried under scars and cynicism, whispered otherwise. Curiosity, maybe, or something older. He punched the thrusters. As the station fell away behind them, Lucas glanced at the two women seated opposite him in the small passenger compartment. Callista gave a small nod. Evelyn closed her eyes, as if listening to something far beyond human range. Lucas sat back and exhaled. He didn't know who they were, but he had a feeling they weren't running from something. They were running toward it. Stars shimmered beyond. The cockpit, motionless against the black expanse as Lucas piloted through the desolate outer ring of the Vega corridor. The only sound was the soft hum of the Starblade's reactors and the rhythmic tap of his fingers against the console. Callista and Evelyn remained seated behind him, silent but alert, as if waiting for something invisible to make its move. Lucas glanced at the rear sensor panel. "We've got a tail," he muttered. Callista's eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly. "Describe it." "Unregistered vessel. Long-range pattern running cold, but it's sticking to our path. Too precise to be coincidence." Evelyn rose, crossing the cramped space with unsettling grace. "Then they found us sooner than expected." Lucas frowned. "You said you were being hunted." "That's a military-grade cloak out there. Who's after you?" Callista placed her hand on the viewport. "Not who. What?" The words hung heavy in the air. Suddenly, a pulse ping erupted from the console. The pursuing ship activated a scan burst, bathing the Starblade in triangulation beams. A proximity alert blared and Lucas cursed, twisting the controls sharply. The ship jolted, throwing them sideways as he veered into a debris field. "Hang on!" he shouted. Shards of metal and ancient station fragments whipped past them, narrowly. Missing the hull, Lucas gritted his teeth, accelerating toward a cluster of wreckage to use as cover. Evelyn placed her palm on the panel beside him. The navigation interface flickered, then stabilized. Vectors aligned. Controls responded with unnatural smoothness. "What the hell?" he breathed. "I adjusted your reaction threshold," she said calmly. "Your ship listens better now." Lucas stared at her. "You did what?" Callista stepped forward. "Only a light touch. You'll find it more responsive now." He narrowed his eyes. "That's not normal." Evelyn's expression didn't change. "Neither are we." Before he could reply, the lights dimmed. A low-frequency vibration passed through the ship's frame like a sigh of something ancient brushing against the hull. Lucas blinked, reaching instinctively for his sidearm. Outside, the stars twisted, literally bending in place, as if space itself were folding. "What is that?" he asked, voice low. "Interdimensional threading," Callista replied. "They're breaching." Lucas felt his chest tighten. "They?" "The ones who want us back," Evelyn said. "The ones who don't believe in choice." The pursuing vessel emerged from the warped space, no longer cloaked. Its structure wasn't made of metal. It appeared forged from flowing crystal and dark matter, pulsating with energy. Lucas stared in disbelief. No thrusters, no visible engines. The thing floated like a phantom carved from folded light. "It's not from this reality," he muttered. "Correct," Callista said. "And if it catches us, you won't remain in yours." A targeting lock buzzed red on his display. Lucas clenched the yoke and dove into the debris belt again. The ship twisted sideways, turbines straining as they skimmed a ruined satellite. "They're matching every move," he growled. "They'll overtake us soon," Evelyn warned. "Unless—" She met Callista's gaze. A silent agreement passed between them. Lucas caught the exchange. "Unless what?" Callista stepped close, her hand resting lightly on his shoulder. "We need to mask our presence. That means initiating a partial bond." He recoiled slightly. "What does that mean exactly?" "It's an energy fusion," Evelyn explained. "Temporary. It will blur our signatures, confuse their tracking. They won't be able to isolate us." Lucas hesitated. "And what does this fusion involve?" Callista's fingers brushed his neck. "Shared proximity, physical connection, momentary intimacy." Lucas exhaled sharply. "Is this the part where I'm supposed to say no and mean yes?" "No," Evelyn said softly. "This is the part where you choose." The cockpit lights shifted. cool blue fading to warm gold. The sisters moved in sync, stepping closer. Their bodies radiated a pulsing warmth, not hot, but penetrating. He felt pressure without touch, like magnetism pulling the air taut. His heartbeat echoed louder than the engine. Lucas didn't step away. Their hands found his, Callista's fingers, threading between his left, Evelyn's right palm pressing over his chest. Light surged between them, not blinding but brilliant, a luminous flow that traced patterns across their skin and spilled into him. He gasped. The world slowed. His perception expanded. He felt the ship's hull around him, the vibration of stars. Beyond the glass, the tug of dimensions brushing against one another. More than vision, he felt the enemy ship's sensors searching, sweeping past him as if he no longer existed. Then it ended. Lucas stumbled back, breathing hard. His skin glowed faintly, fading rapidly. "You're stable," Callista said gently. "They've lost our trail, for now." Lucas looked from one to the other, adrenaline burning through wonder. "What the hell are you two?" Evelyn smiled faintly. "A question you'll answer yourself. In time." Lucas hadn't spoken since the fusion. He sat at the console, eyes fixed on the star lanes ahead, mind still echoing with sensations he couldn't categorize. The lingering warmth in his chest wasn't fading. It hummed softly, like a frequency only he could hear. Behind him, Callista and Evelyn exchanged hushed words in a language that curled around syllables like breath around flame. They had evaded the hunter for now, but Lucas knew the quiet wouldn't last. Trouble like that didn't give up. It recalculated. Signal beacon chimed, piercing the silence. Lucas checked the alert. "Refueling depot ahead. Tarsus 9. Last stop before open drift space." Callista stepped beside him, her gaze distant. "We'll need more than fuel." Evelyn followed. "Supplies, equipment, shielding, and information." Lucas rubbed his temples. "I suppose docking won't get us vaporized?" "No," Evelyn answered. "Not yet." Tarsus 9 floated like a rusted satellite anchored by debt and desperation. The station looked stitched together, refurbished escape pods welded to ancient cargo modules, blinking lights flickering through clouds of vapor and leaking exhaust. No uniforms, no laws, just barter, bribes, and whatever passed for balance, in places abandoned by order. Lucas docked the Starblade quietly. He didn't like the atmosphere, and not just because of the literal haze that filled the hangar. Something felt watched, observed by eyes that weren't attached to faces. He handed them cloaks. "Blend. Don't advertise. This place smells blood faster than money." They wrapped the fabric around their forms. It didn't conceal much. Height, glow, presence, but it dulled the edge. Together they stepped into the concourse. Lights buzzed overhead. Vendors yelled over one another in dozens of dialects. Cybernetics dealers, black market engineers, gene hack surgeons, all flaunted wares. As if ethics were old myths, Lucas moved through the crowd like he belonged. The sisters followed, their steps silent, gazes sharp. A voice called out, "Lucas Thorne." He froze. No one used his last name anymore. Turning slowly, Lucas found a tall figure blocking their path. Muscled, scarred, and grinning with one gold tooth reflecting amber station light, the man wore a long duster, half blaster holstered low, the other half of him metal and menace. "Draven," Lucas said flatly. "You've got a death wish, friend," Draven replied, glancing past Lucas at the cloaked figures. "Or a price. Tag so high you're deaf to reason." Callista didn't move, but her fingers flexed beneath the fabric. Lucas kept his tone level. "Didn't expect you this far out. Retired from bounty work last I heard." Draven chuckled. "I unretire for premium contracts." Evelyn stepped forward, her hood falling just enough to reveal the faint gleam of her cheek. Draven's smile dropped. "They're real," he muttered. Lucas didn't flinch. "You scanned them?" Draven tapped the side of his skull. Biometric reader doesn't lie. You're harboring Seraphim-class entities. Thought they were myth. They're not, Lucas said. They're hunted, Draven countered. Alliance wants them. Collectors want them more. They don't belong in cages. Neither do chimera hybrids, Draven said darkly, glancing at Lucas's glowing hand. What did they give you? Perspective, Lucas replied. Draven sighed, almost regretfully. You know I have to bring them in. No, Evelyn said, her voice layered and unyielding. You won't. She extended her hand. Reality shimmered. The space around Draven bent, not violently, but with precision. His blaster twisted in its holster, circuits flickering, metal warping like soft clay. What is this? He whispered. Warning, Callista said. Draven backed off, hand raised. All right, I'm not suicidal. Lucas watched him disappear into the crowd, heart thudding against his ribs. We need to leave, Evelyn urged. No time for gear, Callista added. They retraced their steps, passing the cargo bays when a figure emerged from a side corridor, taller than Draven, thinner, with eyes like frozen glass and skin that flickered like broken camouflage. I believe we have unfinished business, the figure said, voice smooth as static. Lucas recognized the shape before the face. The hunter from earlier, manifested now in humanoid form. Not flesh, not machine, something else entirely. Callista stepped in front of Lucas. You shouldn't have followed. I never lost you, the being replied. You're marked, he's contaminated. Lucas raised his blaster. One more step, and I test your durability. The hunter tilted its head. Your weapon can't damage phase-bound forms. Evelyn raised her palm. His will soon. A pulse of light surged from Lucas's chest. Reflexive, instinctual. The hunter recoiled, hissing, flickering at the edges like a signal destabilizing. You've changed him too much, the hunter growled. Now, he's a variable. That violates the accord. There was no agreement, Callista replied. We left. We chose. That freedom is not yours to revoke. The hunter dissipated mid-lunge, fading like a shadow at sunrise. Lucas exhaled. What the hell was that? A warning, Evelyn whispered. Next time they'll send something worse. The silence inside the Starblade felt heavier than vacuum. Lucas sat on the edge of his bunk, jaw tight, eyes distant. The encounter at Tarsus had shaken something deeper than fear. It wasn't just the pursuit anymore. He was changing, and he could feel it. In the reflection of the porthole, subtle veins of light pulsed beneath his skin, glimpses of something dormant waking up. Energy, not mechanical, not biological. Something alien, whispering beneath the surface of his bones. Callista entered the chamber without knocking, her presence filling the space like a shifting tide. She carried no weapons, yet her steps had the quiet authority of someone who never needed one. You feel it now, she said. Lucas didn't answer right away. He looked at his glowing palm. It's not pain. It's pressure. Like something is trying to unfold inside me. Evelyn leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. It's the bond. Partial connections awaken dormant pathways. Biological, mental, energetic. Your species was never meant to hold it. But somehow, you're adapting. Lucas rose, stepping closer. You said the fusion was temporary. It was, Callista said. This reaction wasn't expected, not at this magnitude. Then what's happening? You're becoming something new. The words hit harder than any explosion. Lucas paced. You should have warned me. If I'm mutating into some kind of hybrid, I deserve to know. We weren't sure it was possible, Evelyn admitted. No human has ever bonded with both of us, let alone survived. He turned sharply. What do you mean, both of you? Callista hesitated. We're not separate. We're twin forms of a single origin, split deliberately to experience duality, light and shadow, stillness, and motion. Our existence is designed to reflect polarities. Lucas narrowed his eyes. So bonding with one of you isn't enough? It stabilizes, Evelyn replied, but bonding with both completes the circle. He rubbed his temples. That sounds dangerously poetic. Callista stepped closer. It's not poetry. It's physics where emotion is quantifiable. You were chosen because your pattern matched both our frequencies. That shouldn't have been possible. Yet it is. Lucas looked between them. So, this was never about smuggling you out. No, Evelyn said softly. It was always about what you could become. The ship lurched. Warning lights flashed amber across the control panels. Lucas sprinted to the cockpit, both women behind him. A ripple on the sensor grid showed a spatial anomaly forming dead ahead. That's not natural, he muttered, adjusting thrusters. Because it isn't, Callista confirmed. It's a rift. The distortion widened, revealing a gateway, black, at the core, ringed with concentric spheres of shifting energy. From within, a colossal vessel emerged, black glass and obsidian plates layered like an insect's armor. The hull radiated pulses in perfect rhythm. It didn't move like a ship. It drifted with the confidence of inevitability. Evelyn's expression darkened. That's not a hunter. That's a collector. Lucas looked confused. Same as the one from before? No, Callista said. That was a scout. This one curates life forms, preserves them, strips will from specimens and stores essence in archival fields, forever. Lucas gritted his teeth. I assume it wants you to. And now you, Evelyn added. Communications activated without permission. A voice, disembodied but eloquent, echoed through the cockpit. Pilot designation, Lucas Thorne. You are transporting anomalies marked under Codex G37. Surrender the specimens. You may remain intact. Lucas rolled his eyes. Nice to be valued. Refusal will result in assimilation. Callista's voice cut through the channel. We are not artifacts. We are sovereign beings. Incorrect, the collector replied. You are interference. Lucas shut the comm manually. Suggestions? There's a dead nebula 3 parsecs from here, Evelyn said. Dense magnetic storms. They can't track us inside. They'll chase us anyway, Lucas replied. Then we vanish, Callista said. But first, you need to decide. Decide what? Evelyn reached for him. To complete the bond. Permanently, Lucas backed up slightly. I thought this connection was unstable. It is, Callista said. Unless you finish it willingly. He stared at them both. 2 beings with power he barely understood, asking him to jump off a cliff into something irreversible. His pulse quickened, but not from fear. He stepped forward. Show me how. They didn't speak. They simply touched him, Callista's hands framing his face, Evelyn pressing a palm to his chest. The warmth returned, this time deeper, slower, threading through his cells like silk woven into fire. The starblade drifted near the edges of the dead nebula, its hull whispering under electromagnetic strain. Electrical arcs shimmered across the outer plating like silent lightning. Inside, systems flickered, but held. Lucas stood motionless, his silhouette framed by the flickering control display, posture steady despite the chaos outside. He wasn't the same man who had launched from Driftspire. Energy coursed beneath his skin, not borrowed, but fused. It didn't flicker now. It pulsed, in sync with his breath. Every movement felt lighter, sharper, as if space itself had softened around him. Callista leaned against the console, observing him with something that resembled admiration. Evelyn watched from the opposite corner, fingers brushing along a crystalline interface they'd formed earlier using spare conduits and their unique abilities. He adapted faster than we estimated, Evelyn said. He always had the potential, Callista replied. He simply needed the fracture. Lucas turned slowly. What fracture? Your isolation, your restlessness. You were already split from your species in ways they couldn't see, Callista explained. All we did was mirror it back and fill the void. Lucas raised a brow. I'm not some abandoned experiment. No, Evelyn said, stepping forward. Your evolution. A bridge. Before he could answer, proximity sensors flared red. The collector's ship had entered. The nebula's outer cloud, its shadow dragging stars from view. Despite the disorientation field around them, it had managed to follow their path. They recalibrated, Lucas muttered, hands tightening on the flight yoke. Didn't think that machine could improvise. It's not artificial, Callista said, voice lower. It's semi-organic, born from dimensional collapse. It consumes anomalies to stabilize itself. So we're food. No, Evelyn corrected. Your threat. Static buzzed through the communications array. The collector's voice returned, colder now, less performative. Your fusion has destabilized probabilities across 3 tiers of existence. This must be reversed. Lucas smirked. Too late. We offered containment. Now we deploy elimination. Outside, tendrils of black metal unfolded from the collector's core, forming spines that shimmered with void light. Plasma energy charged along the tips, not as conventional weaponry, but as reality distorters, each capable of unraveling molecular structure. Callista's expression hardened. Those beams don't kill, they erase. Evelyn stepped beside her. We must divide it, distract, then disable, Lucas nodded. You're thinking infiltration. There's an entry vector, Callista confirmed. Mid-ventral side. It folds during spatial drift. We slip in, trigger resonance collapse from inside. Lucas didn't hesitate. Prep the boarding sequence. I'll get us close. No, Evelyn said. You're the conduit now. If they take you, everything ends. Lucas looked between them. I'm not sitting this out. Callista placed a hand on his shoulder. You won't. But your part is different. You anchor us, channel what we give, direct it into the collector when the moment comes. How? With your will, Evelyn said, stepping in front of him. And your connection to us. The trio moved fast. In the weapons bay, Callista assembled a crystalline spike from fragments they'd harvested earlier. It shimmered with chaotic internal energy, a volatile core capable of dimensional disruption. Evelyn encoded guidance through an interface she etched into the interior hull, layering alien script over standard wiring. The result hummed with kinetic resonance. Lucas stood by the airlock, armored in nothing but the glow now permanent beneath his skin. He wasn't afraid. He felt aligned, every cell vibrating with purpose. As the outer hatch cycled open, Callista and Evelyn stepped into the vacuum, shifting into their enhanced forms. Less human now, more elemental. They vanished into the dark, becoming specks against the collector's looming mass. Inside the ship, Lucas closed his eyes. The bond reached. Across the void instantly. He could feel them moving, dancing between tendrils, slipping through folds in its exterior, planting the crystalline spike near the core. Their heartbeat matched his, though neither possessed one in the traditional sense. Then came the signal. A sharp surge of energy flooded Lucas's chest. He dropped to one knee, exhaling hard. The cockpit around him blurred, replaced by layers of pure geometry, angles and curves, color and form intersecting beyond comprehension. He focused, all that energy, everything they had built, compressed into a single moment. Lucas unleashed it. A beam of raw void light fired from the Starblade's auxiliary node, guided by Evelyn's script. It struck the collector just as the crystal detonated within its structure. The scream wasn't sound. It was silence folding in reverse. The collector's hull fractured. Its shadow broke apart like peeled skin, revealing a core of swirling chaos. Then it imploded, folding inward and disappearing into a puncture in reality. The nebula fell quiet. Lucas slumped against the wall, chest heaving, arms tingling. A moment later, Callista and Evelyn shimmered back into view, stepping from a ripple in space. Their eyes met his. No words were needed. They had won. Together. The Starblade coasted through quiet space, leaving behind the fractured remnants of the Collector's obliteration. Where chaos once spiraled in violent patterns, serenity now reigned. The stars shimmered peacefully, unaware they had narrowly avoided becoming silent witnesses to oblivion. Lucas stood near the observation panel, his hand resting against the reinforced glass. He watched the void ripple softly in the distance, the distorted edge of the nebula folding back into stillness. His reflection blinked back at him, eyes brighter, posture grounded, every breath syncing with a rhythm far beyond his own heartbeat. He no longer felt disconnected from the universe. He belonged to something larger now. Callista approached, barefoot on the metal floor, her movements fluid as wind through silk. Her glow had softened, yet beneath her golden skin, traces of light flickered like dancing embers. "You anchored the convergence," she said, voice low but steady. Lucas turned, studying her face. "I didn't know if I could." "You didn't." "Doubt either," Evelyn added, stepping beside her sister. Her gaze held warmth, tinged with admiration. "You trusted the bond. That's what changed everything." Lucas smiled faintly. "I'm still trying to understand what I've become." "You're a bridge now," Callista explained. "Matter and frequency, form and possibility. Not human, not entirely seraphim. Something new." "And that scares them," Lucas said, glancing toward the dark regions where other void ships might be watching. "It inspires others too," Evelyn replied. "They'll come, some with questions, some with fear, but many with hope." Lucas nodded slowly. "And the Collector? Is it truly gone?" "Not in the way you understand endings," Callista answered. "It's been unraveled, scattered across dimensions. Its consciousness may reform someday, but never as it was." "We fractured its certainty," Evelyn added. "It can't function in uncertainty." Lucas breathed deeply. The air inside the ship no longer felt recycled. It carried a hum, a living echo of their fusion. The Starblade had changed too, subtly reacting to its captain's transformation. Controls responded like extensions of thought. Panels pulsed with gentle light where metal once dulled. He turned back to the women. "And you? You said the bond was complete. What does that mean for you now?" Callista reached for his hand, intertwining their fingers. "It means permanence, connection that transcends place or shape." Evelyn stepped closer, placing his other hand against her abdomen. Lucas froze. A spark passed through him, faint, warm, but undeniably alive. "You're..." She smiled, her expression unguarded for the first time. "Both of us." Lucas stared. "Between them." "You're carrying..." "Hybrid offspring," Callista said, resting his palm against her belly. "Seraphim essence bonded with human will. They'll be the first of their kind," Evelyn continued. "Living proof that dimensions can unify rather than divide." Lucas laughed softly, overwhelmed but not afraid. "So, I'm going to be a father." "You already are," Callista whispered. He drew them into an embrace, resting his forehead between theirs. In that moment, surrounded by stars and silence, he felt more human than ever. Not because of blood or body, but because of choice. He had chosen them, and they had chosen him. It was beautiful. Evelyn gestured toward the interface. "If we install the crystal here, it becomes a stabilizer, a gateway. Between realities," Callista confirmed. "Controlled, mutual, balanced." Lucas retrieved the crystal from its chamber, no longer pulsing erratically but glowing steadily. He approached the platform and inserted it into the resonance socket. A ripple passed through space, not an explosion, not a breach, an invitation. "They've seen the result?" Evelyn said. "They're watching," Callista added. "Waiting." Lucas looked toward the horizon. "Let them see." Behind him, the ship thrummed with quiet energy. Inside, the future grew, twin lives forming from union. Destined to change more than just bloodlines, they would shape meaning, rewrite limits, offer possibility where there was once only fear. As the rift shimmered with light, Lucas reached for the hands of the women who had rewritten his destiny. "Let's go home," he said. The Starblade turned slowly, engines igniting with soft brilliance. Together, they sailed forward, not just into unknown space, but into a future they would help define. And somewhere in the silent dark, destiny blinked first.